Well, thank you very much. And I got a phone call about 3 months ago, and then an email to follow that, and then another phone call. And I was asked to speak today. I was tremendously humbled. And I see so many people sitting here today that I knew almost 40 years ago. And I walked these halls. I graduated in 1986. At that time, it was Atwood High School. And I guess to me, it will always be Atwood High School. My family and I moved here in 1978. And we were, if you would go to Vegas in 78, they would have put odds on who would be giving the commencement speech today. For those of you who knew us in 78, you'd probably be a millionaire right now if you put a dollar down. There were 6 of us, 3 sisters, myself, my mom, and the man my mom was married to. And we lived in about a 22-foot trailer down at the lake. And we had nothing. We had no family here. We had no friends here. We had absolutely nothing. All of our clothes came from the thrift shop. Everything that we had was either given to us or was borrowed. And the community opened their arms to us like nothing I'd ever seen. And the first thing my mom did was she went and got me involved in little kids wrestling. And we had moved here from Southwest Kansas, and baseball was big down there, and wrestling was big here. I didn't know anything about wrestling. The only thing I knew about wrestling is what you saw on TV with like Andre the Giant, you know, and I saw Jim Duggan. So I go to practice, and they match me up against this kid. You know, I'm 10 years old, and I take this kid and I just slam him on the ground. And I jump on top of him, and whoever was officiating, bam! I'm still laying on top of him. I won't get off. And the guy goes, "No, you got to get off." I said, "You got to slap the mat 3 times." That's all I do. The Garcia family, and I know a lot of you know Coach Garcia. He left here shortly after that. But he and his wife and their 2 kids, they took me in. My mom would take me up there on Friday and drop me off. And they would take me in and feed me, and I'd stay the night there. We'd go to a wrestling tournament on Saturday, and they'd feed me in the morning, and feed me at lunch, and feed me that evening, and bring me back home. And there were so many people in this community that did that same thing for me and for my family. Whether it was Coach Lankus or Coach Terry or Coach Otterbright or Coach Coleman or Coach Garcia, you know, the Raker family and the Ross family. There was, you know, you hear the term, it takes a village to raise a child. And that was so true for me personally. And what I want to talk to you today about is a little bit about my journey, but more about some key things that I have found that I think can stick with you and can help you. One of those things is never judge a book by its cover. And I look at when we first came here, if we would have been judged by the outward appearance, nobody would have ever allowed us in their home. Nobody would have ever opened their arms to us. Nobody would have ever helped us. Okay? The second thing is you've got to find a way to have great work ethic. And you've got to find a way to instill that work ethic in the next generation. The next thing is you've got to find a way to succeed. Have a will to succeed. You've got to find a way to be committed. Perseverance. And one of the most important things is you have to enjoy the journey. We are so concerned about the destination that we forget about the journey sometimes. We're so concerned about sitting here today and graduating from high school that we absolutely forget about the journey that brought us here. For me, my work ethic was taught through my mom. In probably 1981, my mom and the gentleman she was with split up. We had no car. She worked a full-time job, plus she waited tables. Probably never made more than about $20,000 a year. Somehow we had a horse. I have no idea, but somehow we had a horse, and the horse was blind. Right? Some of what I tell you is 100% accurate. This is one of those things. Right? Some of it I may be making up. but this is true. My mom traded this Porsche for a 1974 Pinto. For those of you who don't know what that is, you can Google it when you get home. The car would not go into drive when it was cold. We lived on Page Street. My mom waited tables downtown when we used to do the Buffalo. So she'd get up at 5:30 every morning, and she would back the car from our house to the restaurant because it would not go into drive. But you know what? She never missed a day. I don't remember that lady ever being sick. She never took a sick day because she couldn't. There were 4 of us at home, and every single penny she could make, she tried to make our lives better. And I think that's an important thing that we try to do with our children. I've got 3. I've got a freshman in college who's at the Air Force Academy. I've got a junior in high school, and a freshman in high school, and I love my wife, and they all traveled with me here today. The 4.5 hours to get here, and we're going to turn around and go home as soon as we get done. They have finals starting on Monday. But the ability to instill that type of work ethic is so awfully important. The will to succeed is something I really didn't know anything about. And I'll tell a little bit of the story. I don't know if Coach Lankus is here or not. Coach Lankus took over the football program here in the fall of 1984. And I would have been a junior. My freshman year, we won 1 game. My sophomore year, we won 1 game. Now, prior to that, they had had a little bit of success with the previous coaching staff. And we came out, 16, 17 years old. You think you probably know everything. And there's some people sitting in this room right now that were on that team with me. We lost the first game 45-7, I think. We lost the second game like 54-6. And I didn't know much about Coach Lankus, but the people who grew up here, I think, knew a lot more about him than I did. So we come out to practice probably on Tuesday after we got beat that second game. And he took 5 or 6 of us and lined us up. And he says, okay, now, we're going to do a little drill here. So he lines up on one end, and he lines the other 5 of us up over here, and we're in full pads, and he has no pads on. And he says, run at it. So the first guy's Brad Lightman. Brad's one of the best football players in high school that I played with ever. And then it was like Regan Erickson, and Regan was a state champion wrestler, and then whoever. So Brad kind of jogs up there at him. I mean, Coach Lankus just laid him out, just put him on his butt. And it angered Coach Lankus that we did not go full speed. We had no idea. We had no clue what it meant to have that fire inside of you to be successful. Okay? So we line up again. In the back of my mind, I'm going, what's this old big farmer know about football? Whenever you know Coach Lankus, he knows a lot about football. And really, he wasn't that old. He's probably younger than what I am right now. But it's all perspective when you're 16. So Brad takes off full speed, boom, gone. Regan Erickson, full speed, bam, gone. I take off full speed, and the next thing I know, I'm just floating backwards in the air. It's in slow motion. And when my head hit the ground, I came to the realization that I knew absolutely nothing about success. And his ability just through brute force to require us to be successful is something that stuck with me my entire life. When I left here, I had the great opportunity to go on and play college football, and I went to Dodge City Community College, and my story really is just as much about failure as it is success. And I think each one of you throughout your lives are going to find that. Some of you have had great failure already. Some of you have only seen success. But it's not the failure that is going to make you who you become. It's going to how you react to that failure. So I go to Dodge City, I'm living with Nathan Rather. Nathan's over here somewhere. And we also had a couple guys from Goodland and some guy from Pennsylvania, I don't remember his name, and a couple guys from Wichita, all living in the same. And they all make the team, and I get redshirted. And I was just unbelievably just down. You know, you just don't do that. You know,